Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's well today. My name is Laura Stranks and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. Welcome to my video today. Today's Monday, the 3rd of April, 9 a.m. I'm recording today because I was going away for a few days, so I thought I'd pre-record, which most of my videos are pre-recorded. But we'll get right into it today. This card, I've had a few requests to do this one again. I put this one here up on the Demonstrator Planning Place, which is a worldwide group through Stampin' Up! And I had quite a few requests for either a video or a PDF. This original one that I did is quite a bit, well, not a lot, but it's larger, taller than this one here, and it's also wider. I scaled this one down only because I wanted to use any of my 6x6 DSP. I'm going to use a different DSP today. This one here, you had to use 12x12 because this here was longer than 6x6. So I painstakingly, it took a little while to work it all out, but I got there. I'm not used to scaling too much things down. Boxes I'm fine with. I'm easy to do those, but when it comes to cards, but I finally got there. So I hope you enjoy this today. I've prepped a lot of my stuff beforehand so that it doesn't take too long. The main bit I wanted to show you is this scoring and cutting for the main feature down the centre. So we'll just get started. Now, I have done a PDF, and also on the PDF, which I'll show you here, I have done, which I've also got this here. I've done two actually. This one here was my original larger one, which is the largest, and it's had all the score lines and everything on it. But then I decided to scale it down, so I did this one, and I did it on another piece and I've attached it in here. So you've got all the scoring, and so you can, if you watch the video and then go back into the PDF, and you can see here what's to score and what's to cut. It's not too difficult, and all my measurements are on this one as well. So I hope that will help you. It's called a triple diamond pop-out card, and I originally got the idea from Iced Images, so I'd like to give a little credit to her, but I have scaled it down to suit myself, and I'm using, she could be a demonstrator, a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, but she doesn't usually use Stampin' Up! Products, which I've chosen to do as I'm a demonstrator. Now, I think that's all I had to do to start. We'll get started. Now, what I've done, and I've got my template here so you can see as we go. I've already pre-cut and adhered down all my mats and things. I've chosen the other pack of DSP. I've gone mad on the Hello Irresistible at the moment, but I thought I'd try one of the different packs. This one's called Regency Park. Really pretty, as you see. I've cut a lot up already. Lots of pretty patterns in there. The back sides of each of them are just like a generic pattern, and the front sides are mostly flowers. And I'm a big fan of blue, so I've chosen the blue design. I haven't used much of the other colours in there. So I decorated all my panels first, and these are the little diamond ones in the front. I've done a little bit different to this one. This one here, I've got a flower and a greeting in the front, whereas this one, I'm emphasising the little diamonds at the front. And I've got happy birthday on my larger panels. That's my back panel there. The measurements for all of those, which I'll give you first, just in case, they will be in the description box of this video, so you probably don't need to write them down, but I'll let you know anyway. My base to start with, and I haven't scored any of it yet, I'll do it as we go. It measures 6 3/8 by 9 inches. So you've got 6 3/8 high by 9 inches wide. The 3/8 I had to do because of the the adjustment in the measurements so that I could fit my 6x6 DSP in. My mats, these blue mats here, they measure 6 1/8 by 2 1/8, so there's a lot of 1/8 inch bits in this, but you'll see why in a sec. So they're 6 1/8 high. It's the height that I needed to get down a little bit. So there's 4 of those front on the backs of them, and then the fronts of them, which is where your DSP comes in, they're 5 7/8 by 1 7/8. So then you can use your 6x6 because you've only got 5 7/8 here. You just cut a little bit off. And there's 3 of those, and then 1 white one for your back panel. The basic, these little ones here, they're 1 3/8 by 1 3/8. The blue, that's the blue at the back, Night of Navy I've chosen. There, and you need 3 of those, and then the DSP on the front of those, which I didn't write down, but they'd be 1 1/8 by 1 1/8. I haven't written it on there, but I'll fix that in a sec. And then the little flowers, I did fussy cut the flowers out of the paper. There's 3 of those. One of them's sort of bluish in the background, and the other 2 were white, so I'm going to put the bluish one in the centre. And I did curl them a little bit, but I did put Wink of Stella on them, which sort of curled them up as well, but I did just go scrunched up like that to sit them up a little bit. And I have put them up on one little mini dimensional in the centre, and I've got my rhinestones, basic rhinestones, 1 of each in the centre of those. My front greeting panels, I've got Happy Birthday on this one, and that all the greetings and the flowers and everything have come from Sentimental Park, but these 2 frames on the front, they are from this Framed Occasion set, and it comes with dies, and I've used this little die here. So that fitted quite well across there. I tried a couple of little different ones, and I wanted them so they would fit in there. But the basic, my little detail bit here is the stamped out of here in the Sentimental Park. So I've just stamped that in Night of Navy. Then I did Balmy Blue, which I stamped off first because the Balmy Blue was quite dark. Mine's fairly inked up at the moment. So I've used those. So that's all my panelly bits. Now the main piece that you need to know is how to score, and it is quite easy. It looks a lot of detail, but it's not too bad. You can do it all on, I've chosen to do it all on my trimmer. I think you can use a scoreboard if you like, but you do need your trimmer to cut. You could cut with a blade and a ruler, but I'm fine with cutting on my trimmer. So what we're going to do, and I'll go by my little chart here. Across here, we're going to score at 2 1/4 inches, which is that from the left-hand edge over on 2 1/4, and we're going to score first. Just make sure I've got this right. 2 1/4, and then 3 3/8, which is 3 1/2, and then the longer one just before the 3 1/2, which is there. And you need to be fairly exact with your scoring and cutting, otherwise your little diamonds won't come out correctly. Then we've got 4 1/2, but the 4 1/2 we're not going to score. We're just going to put a little pencil mark at the 4 1/2. When I find my pencil, that's not a score line, that's just a little pencil mark, so you know where that's the halfway mark of your card, which you'll need when you're doing your next lot of scoring, your diagonal scoring. So a pencil mark on that one. Excuse me. Next is 5 5/8, which is the 2 little strokes after the 5 1/2, and that's a score line. And then the next one is 6 3/4, right over there just before the 7. That's correct. Then we're going to turn it this way. No score lines this way. We're going to cut. We've only got 2 cuts to do, so you can push this back in for the minute. And I'm going to use my trimmer on my Stampin' Up trimmer. on my left edge, I'm going to put it in at 2 1/8, which is the second little stroke past the 2. Line that up at the 2 1/8, and I'm going to cut from this outside score line to this outside score line. I'll show you here. So we're this way, and we're down 2 1/8 from this way, and we're cutting from there to there and there to there. So line it up at 2 1/8 there, and I hopefully don't get my head in the road here. I'm just going to line that up. If you're more comfortable using a ruler and a blade, that's fine, but I can see this quite easily. That's 2 1/8, and then we're going to move it across to 4 1/4, which is across there. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to cut from, that's, try to be exact here without, I want it on the line. If it's a little bit under the line, you can always snip it with your scissors. So go from there to the second score, the last score line. So you're going across 2 score lines in the centre to the outside score lines. So that's all of that. Now you will need your, just move that aside, you will need a stylus and a ruler. And I'm going to put my mat underneath. This it's not Stampin' Up! This mat, but it's good for scoring on because it's got a bit of sponge in it. So our first score line, you're going to go, and I might just fold these a little bit. All of your vertical score lines are going to be folded. I will fold them first because it'll make it easier to see. All your vertical ones are valley folds. So if you want to go across and fold all those and burnish them nicely, it does help if you fold and burnish first. And this one over here, keeping them nice and straight. And then this last one. And then once we've done our diagonal score lines, all of those will come in at mountain folds. But we'll do these first. Just flatten that out a little bit. So we're going to score from this outside score line here down to the top of that bottom cut line there. I don't know if you can see that really well. So you've got from that there to this point out here. And we're going to score. So from there to there, and you'll see on my PDF diagram where to score. That's the first score. I don't know if I wrote first, second, third, fourth or anything, but if you do it in this order, you can't go wrong. So just putting your ruler right there on that point and up there, and we're going to score. Nice firm score. And then the opposite direction, so from this outside score point down to the top of that cut line, the lower cut line. And we're going from here. Excuse me if my head comes in every now and then. So from there to there. And you need to be fairly exact to the points because this is where your diamonds will come in. So that's that one. Oops, I went too far there. And all I do, if it's gone too far, is just burnish that back out again. I did go over that a bit. You won't see that one because it's underneath. It'll be underneath one of the mats. Then, so that's those two cross ones. Then you're going to flip it 180 degrees and you're going to do exactly the same on this bottom end. So you're going to go from this outside point here. I'll just turn that way so I can get a better line in to this bottom score, this bottom cut line here. So you're going to go from there up to that top there, and you're going to do another big cross, and then from that top score line, the first score line on the outside edge, down to this bottom cut line here. Still having struggle. I'll put a little pencil line there because I'm struggling to see there. You can rub out your pencil lines after, and we're going down to this cut line here. So from there to there, put little pencil dots across if it helps you to see your score lines and cut lines. So that's that one. So that's all of that way. Now we're going to go from this top cut line here up to this where you put that little pencil point right at the beginning when you were doing your first score lines. You're going to go from there up to the center of that point there. This is completing the last lot of score lines that you need. So that one, and the same the other way from the top. That's the center halfway mark at 4.5. Yes, 4.5 down to that point there. That first score line, first cut line across where it's cut in the center. So you're going to do that. Flip it up the other way again and do exactly the same. So you're going to go from your little center pencil mark, and I'll show you in a minute where we went on the diagram, and then from that pencil mark down to that first cut line that way. And that's all your scoring done. We shall rub out those pencil marks for now where we don't need them. So what we did, we scored at those measurements, 2 1/4, 3 5/8, a little pencil mark at 4.5, a score at 5 5/8, and a score at 6 3/4. Then we cut from in 2 1/8 inch, cut across to the second score line, from the first score line to the second score line, and then across, because you're going this way and you're cutting across down to 4 1/4. You can go, and I'll try not to confuse you, 2 1/8 that way, turn it around and do 2 1/8 again, which gives you an even spacing, because these are all 2 1/8 apart. So then you're going to cut that bottom score line. Then we did some scoring. We went from this top point here down to the bottom cut line. We went from this outside score line here down to this cut line. Then we flipped it over and did the same from that outside score line down to the cut line, from this outside score line to the cut line. And then we did our smaller ones, which we went from that center pencil point down and down, flipped it around, and we went from the center again down and down. So it all goes on there, so long as you do them in that order. You can do them in a different order if you like. They'll still work out the same, but they need to end up like that. And I've put a few notes on the sides here of different things for you. So that's that. Now we can fold and burnish. And this doesn't take too long. So we've already done these into a valley fold, which will reinforce those because I know I did flatten them out a bit. So we'll go back and do those. Then we're going to do all our diagonal lines. So you've got their vertical, their horizontal, and which we've only got horizontal cuts, and then the diagonal lines go crisscross. So we're going to put them, and you just need to pinch these, just going across like that. Just do a light pinch. Try not to pinch your outside card, but just go along and pinch all of these. You can burnish them after, so long as you get them in place to start with. So you're pinching that, and then across to this one. I love this design. It's so bold when you've finished. It just looks so cute. So that's that. We'll do them all to start, and then I'll show you how they'll go into place. So you're going to go across there, and that's why it's important to get your folds onto the exact points of your scoring so that they end up going nice and neatly in the center. So just pinching all of these. So those center score lines, they're going to push downwards because that's the ones that will be valley folds. And then this bottom section here, just pinch that across and pinch that across. Pinch. It doesn't take too long once you've cut all your mats and things and put them together, and then go ahead and do your base. So as you can see, it's formed like that. So all you need to do now is just maneuver it until they all come inwards. They'll pop into place. All those vertical lines need to go down, and all these will fall down into themselves. If you can do one at a time here. Just need to pull it up a bit. Hold it up off the page. I'll burnish one at a time so you can see how it works. Just make sure they're nice and straight. You can maneuver them around to suit. And then this middle one, if you've scored perfectly on your score lines, do it a bit of a practice on just a piece of copy paper. I haven't got it here at the moment. My first one I did, which I have got somewhere here, I just did it on copy paper to make sure I had the idea of how it went. I didn't fold this one, but if you do it on scrap cardstock, you'll and have a practice if you're not too confident to doing it first off on your good paper. These you just need to hold down, burnish these underneath score lines as well so it will sit flat. Sometimes when I'm finished my whole card, if it's still sitting up a bit bulky, I get my largest acrylic block and I sit it on top and leave it like that overnight, and eventually it will sit down flat. So that's the main focus of your card, and it pops out like that. It does stand up once you've got all your pieces on as well. It will stand up straight. Okay, now we shall decorate. Seeing I've done all these bits, it will be easy. So that one's going there. There's no direction on these flowers. If you do have directional paper, just make sure you've got it in the right direction. So we'll pop those down first, and I'll just get my silicone mat. And I'm just going to use Tombow so I can get a little bit of wiggle room. I keep calling it Tombow, and I know it's multi-purpose liquid glue, but I've always known it as Tombow. This is a fairly new bottle, so it's coming out a little bit thicker than I want. It's not too bad. All you've got, now I'm going to put happy birthday on this side and then best wishes on the other side. So that will fit in there. Just turn that around. And that will go, you'll have an even border all the way around. I did move it across to close to the inside score line so that I've got my little 1/8 out here, because you don't see much down in that inside. And then you've got a really pretty even border all the way around. And then we'll do this one over this side. Be finished in no time today. Go ahead and prep all your panels and things first. I offset my greetings on these. I didn't want them in a line, only because sometimes it's a little bit difficult to line them up perfectly so they look straight. So you're better off to offset them in different spots. Then it's not as noticeable if it's not straight. Then my back panels, this one here, I didn't do any decoration on the back except on the white panel that I stamped. Move this up a little bit so you can see me putting all this glue on here that I don't usually like that much glue out. But anyway, no worries about it coming unstuck. So this one here will go in there. Doesn't matter which side you put your white panel. It's up to you which. I'm right-handed, so it's on my right side. I think it's on my right side. Yes, it is. Nice and quiet here today. My hubby's gone to golf again. He goes to golf 5 days a week, so that one's on that side. That's all of those. And then my little flower panels will go on here. And we are done. I might put, no, I'll put it on here. It doesn't matter about the height. You've got these. It will fit in a 7x5 envelope. It's not small enough to go in a standard envelope, but the thickness too, you're either better to put it in a it will cost you a little bit more in postage if you post it, but it's a nice one to hand to someone because it's that little bit thicker, all the bulk from folding. Nearly done. I know one video I did a couple of weeks ago and I didn't do much prepping and a lot of it was repetition, so it took quite a while. I don't like my videos to drag out too much. These are not perfectly square, but they're pretty close. And then the last one. So I will post this video into my craft room tips and tutorials page. Hope you give it a go. If you're not in the group already, just go in and find it. It's called Laura's Craft Room Tips and Tutorials, and just go in and request to join, and I will approve that. I haven't disapproved anyone yet, and all my PDFs are in there in the files section. If you pop up into the files section, all the videos I've done, all the PDFs are in there. I've also got a Facebook page called Cards by Laura. There's a lot of designs in there. There's no PDFs for those. It's just cards and things and boxes and all sorts of 3D things that I've designed, and they're all in that group. And my YouTube channel is called Creative Gems, if you've got any friends that would like to join. So that is finished. How do you like that? I love the blue and white. Blue's my favourite colour, so I was happy to do this one. That away, and this one here is the same size, so you can go ahead and use your 6x6. I always prefer 12x12 paper, once for this reason, if you've got something a little bigger that you want to use, which we did with this card because it was in the 12x12. But if it can be scaled down to use 6x6, then I will use it. That's it from me today. I hope I didn't take too much time for you. And I hope you can all join me again next week. I'll be 11th of April at 9 AM. And I'll catch you all later. Have a lovely week. Bye for now.